But the waters of China served agonists, that they were true to the cause for which he died. But today, the Dragon Boat Festival survives as a race between long canoes, some of them manned by as many as 70 men. Each community along the river has its entry, and the townsfolk come along to cheer the competitors. Here, too, we have a winner. But sometimes, the rivers of China turn unkind, and the disaster of flood visits the countryside. In the past, millions of lives and billions in property values have been destroyed by the waters. But in the future, modern engineering will control these rivers for the safety and the service of the people. This is just another of the many big tasks of peacetime for which the government and people are now preparing, even while they carry on the long, bitter struggle for freedom. China has been called the sleeping giant because it clung to the ways of the past while the younger civilizations of Europe and America embarked on the Industrial Revolution. But in the years following 1911, when the reign of the Manchu emperors was ended, China began to relax its old rigid tradition of farm and village culture and to emerge into the modern world. This progress was slowed down by the civil wars that were the birth pangs of the new republic. But the Industrial Revolution had begun, and the Chinese were showing a natural aptitude for the use of the machine. The great seaport of Shanghai was a center of this new industrial life. Shanghai was first attacked by the Japanese in 1932, a year after their seizure of Manchuria. And from then on, the Chinese worked rapidly to build the wealth and the productive power which they knew they would need to withstand the inevitable assault on China proper. On the home front, some residential sections like this were constructed. Modernization was cut swiftly in every phase of life, particularly in the larger cities along the seacoast. Strange new scenes for ancient China. Public health clinics were opened. The best of modern medicine came to China and was welcomed by government and people. Popular education was spreading. Young China was going to school. James Yen, who had studied in America and gone home to China, started his great mass education movement. Working with the government, he devised a sort of basic Chinese from his country's complicated picture language. And even young children found they could master this. After they learned the shapes of the characters, the actual writing is greatly simplified. This pretty little girl seems to be having no trouble. China was building strong minds and strong bodies, aware of the importance to the nation of a vigorous and informed youth. Here's a young fellow who means business. The life of young people in the large cities was much like ours here in America. It was for China a renaissance, a swift but ordered march into the modern world, a remarkable achievement for a people that had always held the ways of the past in deepest reverence. Here are examples of the young men and women the colleges were producing, fine representatives of new China, studying the arts of peace. But peace was not on the program of the ambitious rulers of the island empire across the China seas. Suddenly, in 1937, the Japanese struck on a vast scale, and China's battle for its life began. Then, different scenes. Defenseless, unoffending people fleeing from the horrors of total war. 50 millions of people like these were the victims. Up and down the land of China, they were driven from their homes, separated from their loved ones. And each one who survived had a story of terror and death to tell. Those who escaped were the lucky ones, for behind them the survivors of bomb and bullet were either slaughtered or enslaved. China had so many Coventrys, so many Liebitzes, that it long ago lost count of them. Individuals lost everything, and the nation, faced with total war, had lost more than 70% of its industrial capacity to make the tools and munitions of war. Such a vast displacement of population paralyzed the transportation systems. In the confusion, it soon became a matter of every person for himself as the people sought what safety there was in the interior. Millions that the bombs did not kill died of starvation. And those were indeed fortunate who found strength in the rice bowl to struggle on. These are China's orphans, the orphans of the war. Many thousands of them today are in the friendly haven of the orphanages supported through United Relief. Thus began the greatest mass migration in modern history. Millions of people took to the roads and the hills rather than stay at home and bow their heads before the invader. They came flocking into the undeveloped interior, where there was no work for them, where there were appalling scarcities of goods and food. Out of this bitter necessity came a brilliant plan and program, today known all over the world as the Chinese Industrial Cooperative Movement. Here, the refugees register for food and a job in the workshops. The cooperatives set up their first meager equipment in small units in the walls of cities, in caves in the hills, under trees, or wherever shelter could be found from the weather and from roving Japanese bombers. Often they had to use century-old methods for lack of modern tools. Thousands of women rallied to spin and weave army blankets for the soldiers in the field. Out of occupied areas, guerrilla soldiers and workers spirited tools and materials to the cooperative factories. Some equipment was set up as far as 1,500 miles from its starting point. Soon new types of machines were produced that could be used by the cooperatives under emergency conditions. In more than 2,000 of these cooperative workshops, 500 different articles are made for the Army, Red Cross, and civilian population. Thus, many refugees of China who had lost everything, even hope itself, were blessed with the gift of work and the chance to help their country win its fight for freedom. At this canvas cooperative, the day's production is ready for shipment to the armies in the field. The mule train starts out on its overland journey to the front lines. Medical supplies for the hospitals and first aid stations are prepared, and surgical dressings for the wounded. The Red Cross takes on the cargo, and in the battle zones, nurses bring in the wounded from the field. Seldom do they have anesthetics or sulfa drugs, but they do with what they have. Here is a retreat for soldiers who have been wounded or disabled in action. These patients have rejoined the fight on the production front. Millions of young men like these have given their lives for the defense of China. Millions of young men. No other nation has paid a greater price for freedom. The faces of fighting China. Good comrades for us to have in this gigantic war we fight in Asia and Pacific. The leader of fighting China, Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. And the heart of fighting China, Chongqing, capital city of a nation that remains after 7 years of war, unconquered and unconquerable. 3 times the bombs have leveled nearly every building here, and each time a new Chongqing has sprung from the terror and the ruin and the ashes and carried on the fight. Yes, Chongqing still stands by the Yangtze, a vibrant symbol of the millions and millions of China who fight the good fight with us and who will keep the faith with us in victory and in peace.
lights go around the outside ring. See your honey and pass her by, and when you're home I'll swing. Head ladies chain across the hall. Then chain right back, same old track, and wait for your next call. Side ladies chain across, chain each man his maid. Then chain her back, for now you've done the Hoosier Promenade. Do-si-do your corner, now do-si-do your own. The two head couples half promenade across the set you go. The two side couples do the same while the fiddlers scrape and bow. The two head couples right and left through to the other side parade. Then the two side couples do the same at the Hoosier Promenade. Four ladies chain to the center, across to your opposite pal. Opposites now, you chain them back and meet your own.
Hoosier Promenade is danced to a singing call, and the actions of opposite couples are identical. In this dance, the action and calls begin together. Therefore, you must know the expected movements if the dance is to flow smoothly. Let's look at this first half of Hoosier Promenade again to see the details of the new movements. In the first movement, head couples separate. The partners of couples 1 and 3 turn away from each other and circle around the square. The men keep to the outside when passing the ladies. When the head couples have returned home, all couples swing. Next comes head ladies chain. Ladies 1 and 3 join right hands, pass right shoulders, and give their left hands to the opposite gentleman. Then they repeat the same movements as they return home. Watch this once again, following the movements of gentleman 1. He gives his left hand to lady 3, puts his right arm around her waist, and turns her into position to chain back. Then in the same way, he returns his own partner to her home position. Now, the side ladies chain. And then chain back. After this part of the figure comes the chorus of do-si-do your corner, do-si-do your partner, swing and promenade with the ladies twirling into position. Let's see the twirling movement again. Notice that the gentleman's left hand and the lady's right hand form the arch. The second part of the figure begins with half promenade. First, the head couples, using the skater's position, promenade across the set, then turn to face the center. The side couples then do the same. Couples keep to the right in passing, so the gentlemen pass left shoulders. Next, head couples right and left through. Each partner takes the right hand of the opposite dancer, passes right shoulders, and continues home as in half promenade. And now the side couples repeat this movement. Notice that the gentlemen pass to the outside in right and left through. In the last new movement, all 4 ladies chain across the set and back. Let's look more closely at this movement. As in 2 ladies chain, each lady joins right hands with the opposite lady, circles left halfway around, and gives her left hand to the opposite gentleman, who turns her around so that she can chain back in the same manner. In order to compare 4 ladies chain with 2 ladies chain, let's see them both, following lady 1. First, 2 ladies chain. Now, 4 ladies chain. Circling rather than passing at the center of the set is the only important difference. Let's review this movement once more. Join right hands, circle, left to your opposite, and turn to chain back. After 4 ladies chain, we repeat the chorus to complete the first half of the dance. Now let's see all of the dance with the music and singing calls, as several different groups have fun with the Hoosier Promenade.
The 2-head couple separate, go round the outside ring. See your honey and pass her by, and when you're home I'll swing. Head ladies chain across the hall. Then chain right back, same old track, and wait for your next call. Side ladies chain across, chain each man his maid. Then chain her back, for now you've done the Hoosier Promenade. Do-si-do your corner, now do-si-do your own. Now swing and break and promenade your little girl alone. Couples half promenade across the set you go. The 2-side couples do the same while the fiddlers scrape and bow. The 2-head couples right and left through to the other side parade. Then the 2-side couples do the same. It's the Hoosier Promenade. 4 ladies chain to the center, across to your opposite pal. Opposites now you chain them back and meet your own little gal. So do-si-do your corner, now do-si-do your own. Now swing and break and promenade your little gal alone. The 2-side couples separate, go round the outside ring. See your honey and pass her by, and when you're home I'll swing. Side ladies chain across the hall. Then chain right back, same old track, and wait for your next call. Head ladies chain across, chain each man his maid. Then chain her back, for now you've done the Hoosier Promenade. Do-si-do your corner, now do-si-do your own. Now swing and break and promenade your little girl alone. The 2-side couples half promenade across the set you go. The 2-head couples do the same while the fiddlers scrape and bow. The 2-side couples right and left her across to your opposite pal. Opposites now you chain them back and meet your own little gal. So do-si-do your corner, now do-si-do your own. Now swing and break and promenade your little.
American parachutists are fighting today from Port Moresby to North Africa. They're trained to battle in any part of the world, in any climate, on any terrain, desert or snow. The training is tough. So is the job. Here's how a fighting paratrooper is made. Our man begins by learning to jump, to tumble, to fall. Here's a machine that builds bodies. The training gets tougher. Up in a harness for a quick slide to the ground to give him the feeling of movement in the air. A wind machine is used to fill the practice chute so he can learn to handle his parachute on the ground. Next, he drops from a 200-foot tower in a parachute chair. He gets an idea of height and view. And the sensation of coming down quickly. Now he is closer to the real thing. He is hoisted by cable, and he learns how it feels when a parachute opens. He knows his parachute. He learns to pack it fold by fold, each in its own place, for compactness and order. To check it, every cord coiled accurately and in position. He gives it scrupulous care, for on his parachute hangs his life. Using a dummy plane, he learns to time his jumps. Back to the tower again, jumping with the parachute already inflated. He's ready now and equipped with a helmet to guard his face from snapping rope lines and high boots to break the landing shock. He's up for final inspection. The plane is ready, and so are the men. Down below are the objectives must locate, carefully plotted on aerial maps. Stand up is the order from the jump master. Hook static lines. The men help each other with the last-minute checkup. Wait. To the door. Jump. 18 men in 10 seconds. Their first jump. They drift to their objectives, working shroud lines to guide them. Ready for action with rifle and demolition kit. But a paratrooper must be master of many arts. He fights not only in Europe, not only in the deserts and jungles of Africa, but in the snows of the Arctic. So one company goes back to school again for special ski training to learn to fight when the thermometer drops to 20 below. New techniques, new equipment, new skills. He learns how to wax his skis. First is the business of learning how to walk. Clumsy at first. A new way of falling. He thought he knew them all. How to brake at high speeds. The snow plow with knees bent, tips of the skis brought together, pressure on the inside edge of the runners. How to swing arms and shoulders from the hips so that he can do Christies and tempo turns downhill. But skiing is uphill work too. He learns the sidestep and the herringbone. He learns to make a right-about face on skis in deep snow. And this is how a column works its way up a mountain. Now he's at home on skis. And the white suit issued for camouflage makes him part of the landscape. In combat, he will whiten his face, his pack, his rifle too. He learns how to live in the snow. How to tramp down the snow into hard camping ground. He learns to cook with snow. He learns to sleep in the snow, gun and skis within easy reach. Back to camp and back to parachutes. This time into the aerial packs go skis as well as guns. The next jump will combine the old and new training. He's in the air now, and he's ready to combine his three skills: the fighter, the jumper, and the skier, product of a new training for a new kind of war. Light-colored chutes carrying men, dark or brightly colored ones carrying arms and ammunition. It's an odd graduation, this, into the strangest field of ultra-modern war. But these men are ready for it. Hand-picked volunteers, parachute specialists, soldiers trained to fight around the world.